Hi, and welcome to a very long overdue episode of The Red Room. It's been a month, over a month now, since the last episode, so my apologies for the hiatus. It's just been busy. My commercial practice has been and continues to be busy, and which has been fantastic, and I'm not complaining about that. But I have wanted to get out an episode, and the weather's been amazing as well, though it has been particularly hot, as we all know. I mean, it's ridiculous. Today's a nice day. Today is about 26, 27 here at the moment in Cathays graveyard. One of my favourite places, as you've seen before. A fantastic building, and it's an amazing old graveyard. And I went in the fridge in the studio last week, and I realised I had 2 rolls of Ilford SFX 200. Then I also found 1 roll of Konica Black and White 120 infrared film, transmission 750 nanometers, and then I have also, for the 120 film, I have a Lee 87 filter, which is a visually opaque and transmission begins above 730 nanometers, so it's perfect for the Konica film. And I put that in the Yashica Mat 124G. Now, the beauty of the Yashica Mat, well, any TLR camera, especially when you're using a visually opaque filter, such as this Lee filter, this 87 filter, is the fact that once you've put this filter on the lens, you can't see anything. So you have to do everything without the filter then, and you put the filter on afterwards. And obviously with a TLR, you've got 2 lenses. You've got a taking lens and a viewing lens. So you don't have to do that rigmarole all the time. You can just put the filter, blue tack the filter on the taking lens, and then focus and carry on with the viewing lens. So a TLR in this particular instance is the ideal camera to shoot, because you haven't got the fuss of taking the filter on and off, which is fantastic. And the other thing about infrared, so I'm sure you all know, it has a different focusing point. Now on the Nikon FM2, on the 20mm lens, and all Nikkor lenses really, they have an infrared mark which is slightly to the left of the normal focusing mark, because you have a different focusing point. The light transmits, it comes into focus at a different point. On the Yashica Mat, I don't have that. There's no mark on the rotating bellows here to denote where you need to refocus. So what I've done, I'm just going to shoot everything at f11, both on the Nikon and the Yashica Mat. And we should be okay. I'd have thought that should mop up everything we need. What I'm going to do on the Yashica Mat, I'm going to slightly go forward on the because it's on. If you look on the Nikon, you focus and then you go slightly closer on the focus. So I'll do the same on the Yashica Mat and see what we get. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. Have a little walk around lovely Cathays Cemetery, as we've done before, and see what images we get. And it'll be exciting to go in the darkroom and process them and see if miracles do happen. The Konica film is a true infrared film. 750 nanometers. So when I use the this Lee 87 filter, which, as I said, is visually opaque, and I can show you that. So you've got the torch here, so it's a bright torch, and if I put the torch behind there, you can see how opaque that filter is, and it's basically black. So that was the benefit of having the TLR, as I mentioned, that I could still see the image without having to take the filter off. And as a result, you get a true infrared black and white image, as you can see here. The trees go white and the foliage, and then everything on the sky goes black. Whereas with the Ilford SFX, which is a red sensitive extended range in the red, and what I was amazed by both the films, to be honest, is the fact that, first of all, they both developed beautifully. I did give them both an extra stop in exposure because of the time, because as you can see on the Konica 750 nanometer, the expiry date was the 2nd, 1994. And to get images as clean and as lovely as this off a film which expired 32 years ago, this means it was manufactured most probably about 36 years ago, most probably, is remarkable. And also the Ilford SFX, this SFX film, which expired June 1998, and again was the negs look great, very clean. What I did do, so I gave them an extra stop exposure, and because it's really warm at the moment in the studio is sort of settling at about 22 degrees, something like that. On the massive dev chart, the Konica wasn't listed. The Konica infrared wasn't listed. The Ilford SFX was, and using ID11 at 1+1 dilution, it was giving me a 17-minute dev time at 20 degrees C. So what I did, I actually developed both of them at 22 degrees C, because that was the ambient temperature of the darkroom, and I devved them for 15 minutes and 30 seconds. And the negs came out really, really well. They're really great negs. So, and the edge, you could actually see on the edge number of the Konica, and also the Ilford, the edge numbers were perfectly exposed, perfectly developed. So that was a good thing. So it was 1+1, ID11, at 22 degrees, I gave it 15.5 minutes. And if it was 20 degrees, it would have been a perfect 17 minutes dev time for both. So if you do have any of this Konica, that worked for me, so hopefully it will work for you if you can find some. I have ordered actually some Rolly infrared film, black and white, which I thought I'd explore a bit more with fresh stock and see what happens there. But the images themselves came out well. As I said, the Cathays Cemetery is a great location for this sort of thing, and I think the drama of it comes out quite well with the gravestones and the statues against the black sky and the white of the trees. The Yashica performed brilliantly, as it always does. Love this camera, and as I said, if you're going to shoot 120 infrared, black and white infrared, then a TLR is a great way to go, because you can see what you're shooting when you use a proper infrared filter, such as this Lee 87. I put the Ilford SFX 200 through the Nikon FM2 with the red filter, 25A, Hoya 25A red filter. And I am going to get some SFX fresh stock in to do the experiment again, because I was a bit disappointed by how the SFX came out with using the red filter. I thought it was going to be a bit more dramatic than it was, and I actually think possibly it may be to do with age, but we'll see. So I'm going to get some fresh stock and we'll report back on that and do another little jaunt to do some more black and white infrared. So I think the main takeaway from this episode really is the fact that you can use ancient film, black and white film. It doesn't really matter. It still develops really, really well. Just give it an extra stop in exposure, I think is the takeaway again, and you should get some good results from it. So if you can get hold of some out-of-date stock, maybe on eBay or whatever, and get it at a good price, then it's well worth doing it. And it's just a fun thing to do, because you get some really interesting results. And I think possibly the age may add to the ambience of black and white anyway. So it's one of those things which you can just have fun to do. And this is what it's all about. It's about having fun, developing the film, processing it, scanning it or printing it, and then shooting on some lovely old cameras which are incredibly reasonable to buy. And as I said, the Yashica, it really is a remarkable camera. For the price you can get them, I again highly recommend the Yashica Mat 124G. So I hope you're all keeping well, and I look forward to shooting something soon and getting the next episode out. And in the meantime, you take care, stay cool if the heat does come back, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Cheerio for now.